So I'll go ahead and get after it, and whoever jumps on can jump right in. We're going to start with a nice little shin box. So we're going to get 90-90 in our knees and our ankles. I'm going to start with those hips and that low back. So whatever knee is out in front, we're going to make sure our chest is squared out over in front of that knee. We're just going to get a nice gentle lean out over that front knee. So as usual, we're not folding down into that knee, but we're actually reaching out over it. Should feel a nice, good stretch through the glute there. So we're going to kind of take a couple different phases of this. We're going to start just a nice little static hold just to get us woken up. And then we'll add some more dynamic movement into it. So as per usual, when we're holding a position, we can kind of sink into that position a little bit, a little longer, a little deeper as you start to get loosened up. Just trying to relax into it, help with that mobilization. Go ahead and gently roll up out of that. We'll switch to the other side and we'll do the same thing. Start with that static. So reaching that chest out over that knee. Would you like to have a hand down? This is kind of a kickstand just to help with the depth of that reach. Just a way to ease into it a little bit better for me. So really want to keep that back pretty rigid so we kind of get that low connection point between that low back and the glute. So you may get a little bit of low glute, a little bit of low back while you stretch that glute in this position. Kind of a twofold benefit. So we'll hang out here about another 10-15 seconds or so, and we'll start to work a little bit of rotation into our morning. Let's go ahead and ease up out of that. We're going to go back to that first side. So we're going to kind of get that gentle reach out over that knee, but I think it's a little bit different this time. That hand is going to go down as a kickstand. We normally kind of reach underneath that arm. What I want you to do this time, though, is I want you to reach across that chest. So we're kind of still getting that rotation, but we're kind of keeping that arm up a little bit because we're going to pull out through that, and the other arm is going to reach across. Alright, so we're going to kind of go back and forth, reaching straight across, just in a little bit more elevated plane than we normally reach, and reaching on both sides. So, as always, doesn't have to be fast, focus being in control, getting a long of a reach as we can manage. We'll do two more here. You just kind of come across. I want you to focus on using that other hand as well. Kind of driving this left arm back as I'm reaching that right arm across. I'll do one more time. And we'll relax. We'll go ahead and switch sides. We're going to kind of do that same thing. First, kind of find that depth of that reach, of that hinge, and then we'll take that reach across and reach back. So thinking about moving slowly on this one as well is you won't get too dizzy. So keep it at a pace where you're able to focus your gaze and not get too sick first thing in the morning. Do be very active in that reach though. looking to focus on that rotation, all right, not just reaching that hand across our body, but actively trying to rotate along that spine. We'll do one more each way. So pulling that front hand back. And all relax there. Alright, while we're on this side, we're going to shift up into a nice runner's lunge position. So front foot nice and flat, back foot nice and long. Again, we're going to hold a little bit more static here to start. So as we're in this position, kind of working on sinking, again, those hips down towards the ground, loosen those up. Those hands as well, we can work to lower down as well. If we want to bring that chest closer to the ground, break it down to the elbows, we can. Not going to be quite there yet. As always, we can certainly drop that knee down as well for more of that lizard lunge. Just to take a little bit of weight off of the back leg there. A little less of a stretch, but a little less of an effort too, so kind of a trade-off. So we'll be here about 15-20 more seconds. Do like to hold these a little bit longer when we're getting started, just to kind of wake everything up. And just while we have the time and we want to sit for a little bit, we'll take that minute to kind of practice a little mindfulness as we stretch out. And then drop that knee down, we'll switch it around all the way around to the other side. Or you can just step your feet, exchange your feet, either way. Nice long in that back leg. Remember, a big focus of this runner's lunge is to keep those hips square to the ground. So sometimes we'll kind of be rotated into that front leg. Alright, that's the way our hip naturally wants to sit. So we do want to try to kind of open those hips away, almost rotating the opposite direction. So we're talking about this front knee kind of being pushed to the outside. It's going to prompt you to open those hips out. So creating space in those hips is the goal here. Okay, I'll take about another 20 seconds or so to hold this runner's lunge on this side. And we'll go ahead and break that down. Alright, next we're going to go into some inchworms. So we're going to be a little bit more active this morning. Hopefully you're ready for that. So we're going to start in that standing position. So when we go here, I want you to really kind of focus on that spine, mobilizing through that spine. So we're going to start with a nice kind of roll down to the ground. Again, try to like roll that spine up. If you get to the bottom here, you can hold that for just a second as you need to. That's where we're going to gently walk those hands out. Really focus on driving those heels to the ground. We're going to get to that plank position, kind of establish that plank position nice and strong. And we're just going to push right back to that down dog. Push that chest down towards those toes. Then we'll start to walk those hands back in. So once we get back to those toes, again, we're going to roll up nice and easy all the way back to stand. So we're just going to do about 4 or 5 of those. Focus on getting as mobile through that thoracic spine on that roll down. Really working to keep those legs as straight as we can as we walk out. Establish that core, kind of find that center. Push back to that downward dog again. Extended legs, extended knees. Lock those arms back in. And roll it up. Roll those shoulders back at the top if you like to as well. Let's go 2 more times. Take it slow, in control. Each time you go through should feel a little bit better, a little less restrictive. Let's go 1 more time. Rolling down. Walk those arms out. Push them back to that down dog. And lock it back in. All right, so we're gonna kind of piece those last 2 together. That world's greatest stretch coming up. So kind of do half of an inchworm, work through some runner's lunge positions, and then we'll switch sides. So we won't come all the way back up every time. We're just gonna get back to that plank position. All right. So we'll roll this down once more. We're gonna walk out into our plank, and we'll bring that left leg forward with us into that runner's lunge. So my left leg is forward, so that means my left elbow. I'm going to shoot towards the instep of that left foot. I'm going to reach and hold that for just a few seconds. I'm going to open that up, chest towards my knee, fingers to the ceiling. Hold that nice, good, elongated position. Then we're going to go 1 more time, elbow to instep. And rotating back up. We're going to bring that hand to the outside of our foot, so we're kind of straddling our foot. Then we're going to push back, think about toes to nose. Hold that hamstring, stretch out. All right, we'll push that back down, replace those hands, step it back into that plank. And we'll bring that right foot forward. And we'll kind of repeat that same process. Start with that elbow towards the instep, as close to it as we can. Obviously a little bit more restricted on this side. Again, if we need to drop that knee down, if it's just a little bit too much effort for you, this first thing in the morning, I understand. Excuse me. We'll bring it, go ahead and bring that arm up to the ceiling. You're going to try to create length here through that spine, through that neck, through those arms, those fingers. Bring that elbow back down, shooting for that instep. We'll open that up 1 more time. We'll bring that to the outside of that foot. And We're going to shoot for that hamstring stretch, toes to nose. Go ahead and push that down. Replace those hands. Step it back. We'll finish one last inchworm here. Pushing those hips up. Locking those hands. All the way in. Nice slow roll back up to the top. Alright. So a little bit more kind of piecing things together here. This one's a little bit fun. Take a little bit of coordination. So we're going to go from a shin box to a runner's lunge, kind of work a quick little switch here. So what we are going to look for, I'm going to do this on sides. So my right knee is out in front, okay? I'm going to plant both of my hands. I'm basically going to switch my front knee. So my right knee is in front. I'm going to hop up. I'm going to switch those feet to where my left leg is in front for that runner's lunge. Alright? Then we're going to switch back into that 90-90. Okay? So if you don't want to kind of jump switch, we can certainly get up to that plank and step it up. That's fine as well. But just promoting a little bit more of that kind of quick mobility through those hips in that 90-90 position, sitting up nice and tall. Moving across that front leg and bring that opposite leg to the front. Okay? So, like we've been doing, we're just going to kind of hold each position for a couple seconds and then we'll switch back. Alright? So, sitting up nice and tall. Pulling those hands down. Switching through. Create that length through that back leg. Back through. Alright? Most feel pretty good with that side. Let's switch to the other side and kind of this is a little bit of a practice here, and then we'll work to switch back and forth on each side. So whatever knee is in front, that will go to the back, other foot will come forward. And of course, if we need to step that down, we can step that down. We're going to come back to that 90-90 position. Just make sure that we're sitting up nice and tall. Good proud chest there. We go one more practice on this side. Alright, so what's going to look like more dynamically. So we're going to get in our position. We're going to work that shin box rotation. Opening those knees out to the other side. Once we hit that other side, we'll hop up into that switch. And we're just going to work through each side to side. Super dynamic mobility work here. Of course, take this any pace that you feel comfortable with. If we need to drop both those hands back down to open that shin box rotation, please certainly feel free to do so. I want you to really focus on hitting each position, sinking into each position, making the most out of it. It doesn't have to be a lot of reps. Just want to make sure that they look good. Feel like you're getting opened up through those hips. Staying nice and tall as we rotate. Taking a breath at each end. Maybe holding that runners for a couple extra seconds. A good way to work a little bit of agility. We're going to go one more time. Each side should put us right at the end of time. and we'll go ahead and relax. All right, that will do it for us today for some morning mobility. Hope you feel a little bit more mobilized. I know it's a little bit more work this morning than traditionally, but now you're ready to take on the day, make it a good one, make it a great week. We'll see you next time.